Great Escape. Now, if you've been reading the business press over the past couple of weeks, you can't have missed the stories about Capita, particularly asking, is Capita the next Carillion? And there are some big similarities between the two. Historically, they've both been very, very acquisitive in diverse markets, and acquisitions do have a habit of knocking good businesses completely off track because of the complexities and the distractions that they introduce. And Capita recognised this, to be fair. Their new CEO said the company has been far too acquisitive, become too complex, and was driven by a short-term focus. But there's a deeper issue for both businesses, and you can see that in the acquisitions. And most of these acquisitions seem to have happened because they were in attractive markets, not because Capita or Carillion had any specific value to bring to those businesses to make them far better than they originally were before they were acquired. So what both Capita and Carillion ended up with was a plethora of different, largely unrelated businesses, none of which were particularly advantaged in their markets. And yes, those markets happen to be profitable and growing at a time, but that's not always going to be the case. And take public sector outsourcing, for instance, as both Capita and Carillion very exposed to those markets. But for the past probably 20 years, outsourcing has been in growth and it's been profitable, and businesses in those markets have done relatively well. But over the last 5 years, particularly with the downward pressure on budgets and the ongoing kind of sense of austerity, those markets have moved into what I would describe as a value spiral. Now, a value spiral happens where you've got two things working together. One is where the products and services within the marketplace are very similar. They're largely interchangeable from a buyer's point of view. And the other is where buyers are focusing almost entirely on price to the detriment of other things. And these two things play off each other. And when both are in play, they work together to slowly draw down the margins within the market, putting a huge amount of downward pressure on cash flows and on profitability. And the first thing that happens after that is that large businesses start to panic. They start to see this slowdown in cash flow, and they push their sales teams even harder to discount and to offer deals and to take more risks on in a bid to keep cash flowing and to keep the doors open. And it's completely understandable, but all it does is accelerate that downward spiral in the market value. Now, that was a big factor in Carillion's failure, and it's a big factor in the problems at Capita right now. As the saying goes, a rising tide floats all boats, but as that market tide starts to ebb away, it's only businesses that have a really compelling value proposition, that offer something to customers that their competitors can't. Only those businesses have a chance of really escaping that downward spiral that can take all of those other businesses down with it. In any market, good or bad, you have to continually invest in developing your own distinct advantages. You have to find ways to continually offer new value in new ways to customers that they really want and that other competitors can't match. Because that's the only way to keep your business riding high, irrespective of the tides.